Hi, everyone. My name is Jim Ryan, and I currently serve as the president of the University of Virginia, Maurie's first love, also known as her undergraduate alma mater. Per the program, my responsibility is to bring greetings from the Academy. So by the power vested in me, good morning. I think this is where you're supposed to respond. Good morning. Good morning. All right, good. So roughly 40 years ago, I sat in the audience in this very hall. I was a first-year, first-generation college student. Bart Giamatti, president of Yale at the time, delivered a speech to the entering class that was both completely forgettable and left an indelible impression. I say this because I can't quite remember exactly what Bart said, but I vividly remember feeling there was a seriousness of purpose to this place, that I would be challenged, and that I would also be inspired. And so it was for the 4 years that followed. I have very much admired the presidents of Yale who have followed Bart, including Maurie, but because of the time and place I first heard him, President Giamatti became something of a hero of mine, which is why when I became president at UVA, I looked up some of his speeches, and I came across one he gave at MIT shortly after he stepped down from Yale. And in that speech, and this is to continue a theme, he offered this very memorable observation. Being president of a university, President Giamatti said, is no way for an adult to make a living. I am embarrassed to admit how many times I've thought about that quote during these last 7 years while being both an adult and a president of a university. I agree with President Giamatti's observation, but not for the reason he gave. Being a university president is indeed no way for an adult to make a living, but only because it has to be a labor of love. No amount of prestige, power, money, or minor celebrity status is enough to sustain a good leader. To succeed as a president, I am convinced the president has to love the institution she or he is serving. It's not the only trait a president must have. Wisdom and courage are crucial as well, but love is indispensable. And it has to be the right kind of love. It can't be a crush or infatuation. The love has to be sober. It has to be tough at times, and it has to be courageous. Maurie McInnis loves Yale, and she loves it in the right way. Her love of Yale is sober. Maurie and I had mirror-opposite academic lives that eventually intersected. She was an undergraduate at UVA and then a graduate student at Yale. I, in turn, was an undergraduate here and a law student at UVA. We both ended up on the faculty at UVA and eventually in leadership positions. I think it's an advantage for a president like Maurie to have been a graduate student at the institution she's now serving. Graduate students know and hopefully love their alma maters, but in my experience, they're rarely infatuated with their graduate schools. Nor do they have nostalgia-tinned glasses that color their view of the past or the present the way that some undergraduate alums do. To give you one example close to home, as an undergraduate here, I lived in Silliman College, right across the street, including during the strike that closed the dining halls. So I spent a lot of time at Naples Pizza. A few years ago, I visited Yale's campus and discovered, to my completely irrational horror, that Naples Pizza was shut down. I immediately sent a text to my friends from Yale with the measured conclusion that, and I quote, "The Yale we knew is dead." That is not sober love. Sober love is more discerning, to say the least. It's clear-eyed about the past and the present, but is also keenly focused on the future. I know Maurie respects and appreciates the storied history of this place and its traditions. She knows that we are all accountable to the past. But I also know she is rightly focused on what this place can and will be. She is focused on how Yale can be the best version of itself. That is sober love. As for tough love, it is important, as you heard, for presidents to be able to say no and to make hard decisions. Maurie served as a provost, which is all you need to know, so to speak. A provost's top job is tough love. Maurie also believes deeply in the core mission of Yale and in the power of education and the value of research, and she knows that these are worth fighting for. They are worth preserving, they are worth advancing despite any headwinds, internal or external. As for the last and most important, courageous love. By this, I mean the president must put the interests of her institution above and ahead of her personal interests. This requires, among other things, the courage not simply to disappoint your critics. It requires the courage sometimes to disappoint your friends, all in the service of the goal to do what is best for the institution. It means a willingness to take personal risks in order to advance the interests of the institution, and an absolute refusal to take institutional risks in order to advance the interests of the person. I have seen Maurie take courageous steps time and again in her career, including a story I heard last night that she spent an entire semester at sea with 200 undergraduates. That takes courage. She has always focused on the best interests of the institution she's serving, which is more important now than ever given the turmoil in and outside of higher education. All of which is to say that Maurie possesses the indispensable trait of a successful president. She loves this place. In fact, I'm quite sure she loves Yale almost as much as she loves UVA, which is saying a lot. I'm kidding about that point. President McInnis loves Yale, and she loves it in the right way, and I'm confident you will love her back. Thanks for having me.